everybody, and welcome back once again to Let's Play Suzerain. We're back again. It's been a little while since the last session, but we're back again. Quite poignant timing, really, as I sit here. Well, as I started recording this series, long before I uploaded the first video, it was the UK general election, so it was quite fitting timing, and, you know, lots of politics in the news, so it kind of got me into the mood of playing a second playthrough. It was it's my third total playthrough of the game, because I played one off camera too. And as I sit here and record this today, probably just over the halfway point of this current playthrough, the US elections have just concluded yesterday, and well, Mr. President Trump is back in once again. Interesting times ahead, one feels, but anyway. Trump, Starmer, forget those idiots, because we have our very own Anton Rain in charge here. Would you have this man running your country? Answers in the comments. Anyway, I've just checked the news. The only article was this one here. Valen are cracking down on terrorism. And therefore they have basically displaced a load of people from the town of Vernon who are fleeing towards our border, which is no use to them because we've got tighter immigration controls, so we'll be batting them straight back in to where they've come from, in the traditional, good old traditional game of tennis. Right, I'm just getting my dressing gown off because it's a bit warm. Right, okay, so without further ado, I've probably got about 40 minutes here, because yes, once again, I sit here and record this before playing football. So, to get it up in time, I've got to keep it to 40 minutes to get everything done and dusted before I go. So, let's crack on. Without further ado, we have got some things here. We've got the assessment of the Benfi Festival scandal. What scandal? I didn't see any scandals at the Benfi Festival, did you? I was just seeing the president pulling authority and chastising somebody who was speaking out of turn. I mean, that's all I saw. I don't know about anybody else around here. But first of all, we've got Education Negative Report. Okay. Outrage has been caused due to the cutting funding. Schools are being understaffed, faculties are shutting down, bright students of Swordland are leaving for greener pastures. That's very sad, isn't it? And healthcare too. Healthcare too. Hospitals shut down, thousands of nurses and doctors have been let go. Oh dear. Longer waiting times, lack of cleaning staff, overcrowded hospitals. Welcome to the NHS. God bless them. As not their fault, of course. It's long-term underfunding, or actually, I don't think it's been underfunding necessarily. I think it's been increased population for one reason or another, and unwise spending. Has contributed to some of it too. But anyway, let's not get into all of that. But yeah, it's education and health here in Swordland is suffering big time under the watchful gaze of Anton Rain, but hey, sacrifices had to be made to protect our country from external and internal threats. Anyway, let's assess this apparent scandal. The sun was just beginning to rise as Lucian, Peter and I gathered in my office to discuss the fallout of the Benfi Festival. Mayor Curtin Lest's untimely departure was bound to reflect badly on me. The only question was how much damage the incident would cause. The news is about to break even as we speak. We must act swiftly to protect the administration. Agreed. This isn't good, Anton. Right now, Les looks like the victim, thrown out of the festival for defending Swordland's precious cultural values. The most important thing is the narrative. We need to regain control of it. He has incredible influence over the USP's conservative wing, including our MPs. We've got to act before he rallies the others against you. At the same time, you must not apologise yourself. Insulting the First Lady is an act that should not go unpunished. Yes. How about that deal with Marcel Coronti? Surely that can come into play here, Lucian? That would be the most ideal option. Aha. If Swordland Today paints you in a favourable light, other publications are bound to follow. I still don't trust that man further than I could throw him, but he might prove useful in this case. How should we proceed, sir? Yeah, let's use Mr. Cronty. We have our deal, it's about time we put it to use. Excellent choice. With his influence on the media, this could be contained fairly easily. I'm sceptical about this, but fine, I'll fetch Livia. Peter left the room and came back with my secretary. She had on a short dress and dark eyeliner. Clearly, she'd been counting on me being away at the festival for longer. Still, her demeanour was nothing but professional. Mr. Vecton told me what happened. Should I connect you to Mr. Cronty directly? Yes, please. As you wish. But to be honest, though, I think you should keep the deal in your pocket until you have a scandal worth covering up. Lest was completely in the wrong here. Who says we can only cash this in once, but if we can, she might have a point. Peter grinned. Lucian looked outraged. Talk to Cronty, Mr. President, unless you'd rather take advice from someone in a conical brassiere. No? Livia left the room to arrange the call. A few minutes later, the telephone lit up. Marcel Cronty, the CEO of the HOS conglomerate, was on the line. I was wondering when you would call. Were you expecting me to? Of course I was. I've just seen the proofs for Swordland Today. It seems your incident with poor Mayor Lest is about to make the headlines. And what about the other papers? Dare Journal, The Radical, The Wholesword Post, and Le Shaven Times are all prepared to print the story on the front page. I take it that you want this contained, if not completely gone? Yeah, gone is a good option. Alas, the event is too newsworthy to receive no coverage, but I can have you banished to the back pages in the next hour. Oh, I thought your promise was about erasing mistakes. I'm not a saint, Mr. President. I cannot perform miracles. I, too, have my limits. But in times like these, I'm your personal Lord and Saviour. You know that, otherwise you wouldn't have called. So, do you want me to get to work? Yes. Handle the situation immediately. Perfect. I'll call my contacts, or at the other papers first. I should be able to persuade them to downplay the situation. After that, making the necessary changes to my own publication should be no trouble at all. Looking forward to the results. Enjoy your day, Marcel. Oh, don't you worry. Until next time, Mr. President. Marcel hung up the phone. I knew this partnership was the right decision. Mr. Cronty should be able to keep the incident under control. I'm surprised he was so enthusiastic about it. But either way, he just made our lives easier. Lucian departed, which left me and Peter in the room. How are the upcoming trade deals for Agnolia and Whaling coming along? As well as expected. They had their own concerns, but they'll fall in line. He leaned back in his chair. It's been a while since we had a drink or two together. Yeah. It's 6 in the morning. I mean, we have our limits, to be fair. Maybe later. I'd prefer a bit of morning coffee, if I'm honest with you. At that very moment, the phone began to ring. The news was out. News was out. What news? Apparently no news. No news is good news then, eh? Right, downtime at home. Maybe the fact that there's no news articles means that Mr. Cronty has worked his charms and magic. Thankfully. It's good to have friends in high places, you know. Right, it felt like an eternity since the Benfi Festival. Had it really only been less than 24 hours? Or maybe that's why. I was at home now, drinking an afternoon coffee on my balcony. A stack of newspapers lay by my side. I picked them up one by one, reading and rereading the articles about the festival. As expected, Marcel delivered. There was only a second-page article about Curtin Lest behaving deplorably and leaving the festival in disgrace. But my relief was short-lived. Marcel was effective, but he was also a double-edged sword. I couldn't help but think that if someone offered him a better deal, he'd turn on me. I was putting the last paper down as Monica joined me on the balcony. Listen, can we talk for a bit? Yeah, of course, what is it? I've been reading the papers too. I'm happy the confrontation with Curtin didn't seem to have caused much damage, but it could have gone so much worse. I just wanted to thank you for supporting me and apologise for creating such a spectacle. All I wanted was to bring the people of Swordland together the way you're able to, but not like this. Her eyes were getting moist. A single tear fell onto the newsprint. Yes, we wiped her tears away. And I clasped my hand to her face. Oh, Anton. Her eyes filled with gratitude. I could see she'd slept as little as I had since the festival. Thank you. One more thing. You know how stubborn I am? All that business with Lest at the festival distracted from my real message. I'm still not giving up on women's rights, Anton. I want to officially adopt this cause as First Lady, to actually get involved in politics, not just give impromptu speeches. I could even help your education minister with those reforms she's working on. I know this isn't an urgent issue for you, but it's vital to me. Okie dokie. She's stubborn, she said it herself. We kind of like... Yeah, keep her busy. Work on educational reforms. It's fine. Off you go. Help yourself. Enjoy yourself. She'll be fine. Oh, Anton, this means so much to me. Monica hugged me tightly, and I felt some of the past day's tension melt away. Thank you. A noise came from the balcony door. We both turned our heads to see Dina standing there. Mama, I'm hungry. Let's go to the kitchen, baby. We'll make Papa the best snack ever. Yay! They left the balcony and returned half an hour later with a large cookie. Dina had written my name in icing on it. As I sipped my coffee and nibbled the cookie, I thought that I had made the right choice. Things were going to get harder, but at least my life at home was somewhat peaceful. Okay, now we've got newspaper articles. 6 of them. Let's take a look here. Workers at Crossroads. Millennialism versus Arcasian capitalism. Who gives a crap? Right, Swordland today. Rebel Mayor taught a lesson. The reason why progress in Swordland is being hampered is because of obstructionists like Mayor Curtin Lest in the political establishment. The country must unite under President Rain in this time where we are recovering from our wounds. The reckless actions of this rebel mayor goes against the President, the First Lady, and in extension against Swordland as a whole. The administration still holds the strong mandate to improve this country and society. In this new world, the First Lady is to play a role and shine a bright light into the darkness of our society. We praise Monica Rain and her courage for standing up against the status quo, much like her husband. How dare that mayor hold that title and position of power? He must resign immediately. Well, Mr. Caronte's pulled a master stroke here, hasn't he? Okay, immigration to Swordland declines. A humanitarian concern. Stark decrease in immigration, leading to increasingly worrying situation at our border gates. Immigrants finding themselves stranded, living in precarious conditions, and uncertain of their future because of our decision to tighten immigration? No. Sponsored by Magnus Carter and Watchtower of Human Rights. Load of baloney. Benfi booze, mayor leaves. Oh dear. Eventful start. The First Lady's inspiring opening speech was interrupted by the Mayor of Anrica, Curtin Lest, who stood up to the remarks made by the First Lady. He has then continued with his disrespecting accusations and tone, incurring the wrath of the crowd. The First Lady's speech received applause and praise. President Rain has interjected in the developing situation, and although he tried to calm the angry Mayor Lest, continued to embarrass himself. left the attendance among boos from the crowd. Left the attendance. Quite a nice way of putting it. He was dragged out on our say-so. Oh, yes. Well done, Mr. Caronte. Well done. Right, we've got more wider news. Not interested. Right, okay. Leshaven, our hometown. Okay. The state of emergency has caused major disruption in the market. The recession is deepening. And we're heading towards collapse, apparently. Oh dear. We might end up in a worse financial situation than our first playthrough, despite our best efforts. Hey-ho. Right, we've got the discussion of the formation of a new police force and budget allocation of the Swordish armed forces to look forward to. Let's go with budget allocation, first of all. And then we'll look at our police force and see what we want to do. Ooh, happy times. Right. To determine the current situation of the military and its spending policy, we held a meeting in the White Room. Peter, Vulcan and Iosef were seated. General Vulcan, Mr. Lanceya, let's start with the briefing. Very well, Mr. Vice President. We have prepared a briefing to convey further details about the current situation of our military. Which branch would you like to know about? I don't need to know the finer details. All I need to know is that everything is going swimmingly and dandily. This might actually offend them, to be fair, but yeah, we don't care for the finer details. All we care about is, are we ready for war? He cleared his throat. Thank you for keeping your promises. Know that I won't ever forget your great deed. Hopefully the allocated money helps our defence needs. Ah, yes. National security. Military's top priority. Pleasure to work with them. We're not one for pandering. Yeah, simply the increase of the military budget is for national security. We are being threatened by Rumberg, any other potential nations. We need to be ready to defend ourselves. Rightfully so. We are surrounded by jackals, as our intelligence and general staff indicates. Our enemies are both outside and inside the country. We will do all that is necessary to protect this soil. Should we move on to the spending choice? Very well. The increase of the military budget leaves us with big questions about how to utilise it. There was a lot of debate at the ministry, which resulted in two factions of thought. The first faction is in favour of enlarging the armed forces by enlisting more men, while the second faction is in favour of purchasing better military equipment instead. Okay. I always say it's quality over quantity. No need for the details. I've already settled on a decision. The generals were waiting for the word. I hope the decision is of interest to all of us. Yes. Purchase better equipment and begin a modernisation programme. As you wish, but the decision will be negative for our old doctrine. Glad we made the right choice on this. I'll make the necessary arrangements. Iosef and Vulcan looked at each other. That will be all for today then? Dismissed. I'd like to extend my thanks for your attendance. The meeting was concluded as the sun set over the concrete jungle that was Hallsword. Kind of meeting I like. Short and sweet. Right, we have some updates here. Policies. Modernisation programme is now in place. We want state-of-the-art weaponry. Cutting-edge systems. Yes, quality over quantity. Adequately equipped military. Hopefully that will increase with time to be more than adequate. You know, we want excellent equipped military. best in the world is probably asking a bit too much, but hey, you got to start from somewhere, haven't you? Economy situations, we've got Groony lagging behind in development, which is disappointing considering we invested in the Groony plan, but maybe just not kicking in just yet, but it better kick in soon, otherwise Gus Manger will have a lot to answer for. Let's check out the briefings first today. Death of former Black Battalion Brigadier General. Cause of death currently under investigation. It's caused a stir in the city, apparently. Suzerain. There's some protests against Governor Bron's security policies. Exceptionally large protest has taken place. General unrest in the special zone. Simply because he has authorised widespread surveillance. They're saying that we're breaching their civil liberties and human rights. Whatever next. Suzerain. Regional growth stagnates in Dare. Economic stagnation. I mean, that line's not looking massively unhealthy. It could be better, but it's not looking horrendous at the moment. So we're just kind of clinging on at the moment. There's got to be an upturn somewhere, I'm hoping. We're doing our best here, you know. Enrica. Ooh, Curtin Lest switches to NFP. He's resigned from the USP. Oh dear. What a shame, Mr. Lest. What a shame. What a disgrace you made of yourself. Next person to speak out against my wife when she's giving a public speech. Take note. Slowdown in Groony, regional growth observed. Yeah, we've seen that from the old overview screen here. Arcasian Treaty Organisation. They have legitimised the use of PMCs. I said this in the last playthrough, but every time I see PMCs, it always reminds me of Metal Gear Solid 4. Right, what have we got to do here? I've got two reports here. Education reforms. Okay. The overhaul is progressing slower than expected. Resistance has been met. And some changes haven't even been able to start because of a lack of funding. Looks like she needs to bloody work harder. Ooh, look at that. The L1 railway nears completion. Mostly complete. Final preparations are being made for the opening. Underhaul construction guarantees a timely delivery of all contractual obligations. Look at that. Significant boosts will be ahead. Maybe that'll give us the kickstart to our economy that we're after. Checking with the newspapers. Major military overhaul. A new ambitious military modernisation plan has been announced. Lancea has praised us for it. Our enemies won't dare face the reformed military might of Swordland in the future, said Lancea in a formal announcement. Nice. Oh, look at that. Yep, same again. Oh, Lest said the change wasn't about himself, but it was about the people of Enrica. Of course it was, mate. Of course it was. Saving face. Second Contanan satellite in space. The Shaven Times, government backs rural development. There you go. So why is Groony struggling? Come on, get your act together. I think it's just going to take a little bit of time to kick in, perhaps. Radical. Massive protest against Governor Bron. An explosive wave of protests has swept through Berger. Yes. The government's policies have been nothing short of a witch hunt against the Bluish community. Really? I mean, as an outsider looking in, as a neutral, bystander, you kind of can't argue, can you, really? Bluish language outlawed, schools, churches, cracking down. What can I say? What can I say? They brought it on themselves, is what I can say. Special Zone must be abolished, and this government must be held accountable for his actions and removed from office. Well, actually, to be fair, I want him removed from office so that we can bring the Special Zone of Berger under the wing of the Interior, Ministry of the Interior, and have it ruled by our hopefully new and improved police force. And Rakely's investment round in Gasson. Well, that's good. That means we might get paid out. Remember, we've got shares, government shares here, which we can cash out, hopefully, if things continue to go well. Right, discussion of the formation of a new police force. Carl Grieser arrived for a meeting to discuss the new police force. After Olivia informed us of his arrival, Lucien opened the door and let him in. Hello, Mr. President. Mr. Gallard, what a sunny day, isn't it? The weather outside was beautiful indeed. Clear sky and sunshine made the scenery look lively. I could even hear the sounds of birds chirping from the palace garden. Yes. Good to see you, Carl. After the last debacle. How have you been? Ah, very good. Thanks to the increased budget at the Interior, we have been combating a lot of the issues that plagued us. My position bears more responsibility now. But more importantly, the security situation in the country is much more stable, allowing people to return to a normal life. Please, have a seat. We don't want you to feel uncomfortable. I am used to being uncomfortable. He took a seat and corrected his posture. We have been informed of the establishment of the Secret State Police under the Ministry of Interior. Ah, correct. Minister Graf has given me full authority to lead the new force in order to combat subversives and other threats to the state from the inside. The agents we have recruited are the most loyal and experienced. Yes. There are too many enemies inside Swordland, it seems. They need to be found and imprisoned. Our established forces has begun gathering intelligence on the suspected enemies of the state. I want to make it absolutely clear. My belief in you as a leader is unquestionable. Consider me as your inside man. Minister Graf, though not as inspiring as you are, has also shown great capability. But the more I work with her, the more I am convinced that she herself might pose a threat to you. Oh? Tell me more. Why would she? Why would anyone pose a threat? Because of the power they hold, of course. I can easily tell you that she pulls many strings. Ambition is a dangerous thing. Carl leaned closer and lowered his voice ever so slightly. The initial analysis by our agents has uncovered some troubling facts. There are elements within our state that have ulterior motives. What do you mean? May I speak frankly, sir? Of course. You are among confidants here. The reformists are a threat to the next election, sir. The people could rally behind them and endanger your administration. With the SSP, we can resort to harsh but necessary actions to remove these threats. Let's start with the primary person, the opposition leader Franz Richter. We have received credible intelligence that he has connections to Arcasia, as did the Judge Orser as well, Chief Justice. Upon further inquiries, we see a mismatch of information between the Border Guard and the intelligence units. The old guard must have pushed this forward. We should consider investigating Mr. Richter further. The PFJP poses a threat for the next election. It's better to know more. Yes. Mr. Richter should be investigated in full. Yes, sir. If you think he is an enemy, we will look deeper. There are so many potential corruption cases here. I am a supporter of the Emergency Act and the expanded powers given to our police to stabilize the country. We have achieved our goals. However, I couldn't help but notice that certain high-ranking officers in the Swordish police force have been acting autonomously. This is a grave concern for us. The chain of command is jeopardized? After further research, we found that there are some very powerful deep state forces inside the administration, influencing our security. Our investigations have just begun, but certain links we have discovered are troubling. Mr. Hawker has financial and other ties to certain figures in the police and the government. He is a dangerous man. Currently, we are collecting evidence in order to discover exactly what his network comprises. Lucian glanced at me with his eyebrow raised. Minister Morgner is very concerned about the Supreme Court and Old Guard. She sees them as the primary threat. Yes, well, we better find out about their weaknesses, just in case. Nobody is to be trusted. In that case, the department will keep an eye on any leads. We surely can do that to be on the safe side, even though we are working with them. Besides them, there are other elements we are aware of. The oligarchies seem to have some people on the inside as well. We have received some unconfirmed reports about Mr. Tusk having made deals with the enemies of the state. And it is suspected that they are evading taxes through bribery and exploiting grey areas in our laws. Our investigators in Estord and Narbel have also found some suspicious financial activity from some of their corporations. If tax returns were to be made public, it would help us track irregularities in the filings. Tusk could well be an issue, but he shouldn't be our primary target. There are bigger fish to fry. Very well, sir. If he isn't a big concern for you, we can talk about other figures. Marcel Coronti and HOS also have a strong presence in the media and many other industries. There are some patterns we observed that are unusual. It really seems like they have a powerful influence in the majority of the so-called independent news organizations. They might not be so independent after all. Mr. Cronte has been very supportive of my administration, and he's a close friend, Carl, if you get my meaning. He might not be innocent, sir, but if you think he isn't an issue, then we can move on. Therefore, we need to pick a faction to focus on. We can't investigate everyone within the remainder of the term and come up with a thorough and compelling case. The most logical step would be to use the SSP to pressure either the oligarchies or the Old Guard. Where should we concentrate our efforts? Oh, wow. So we can either focus on Hawker and the Old Guard, focus on Tusk and the oligarchies, or focus on opposition parties. We're not bothered about Tusk and the oligarchies. It sounds like they're just kind of wheeling and dealing for their own profits and their own gain. But ultimately, if we can keep them on side, which we have done so far, we might be good. They might be, they're injecting money into things. Not to mention he's given us a personal bribe. We'll let them be. And Coronti also has really helped us out recently, so we're quite satisfied with them. Hawker on the Old Guard, he seems a little bit like a snake, doesn't he? He really does. But purportedly we're supposed to be working with him, so although I wouldn't trust him as far as I could throw him, I'm kind of likened to leave him be, because we can only focus on one apparently. one thing for certain that we know is that Richter is going to pose a problem. And if we want to get re-elected, that problem needs to be eradicated. And we have some semblance of evidence already on his activities. So, to me, opposition parties, let's dig the dirt, smear them, and give ourselves, hopefully, a smoother path to re-election. Yes, sir. We will focus our research and investigation on the PFJP and the NFP. NFP I'm not so bothered about. It's these guys that need to be reined in. Well, it has been decided. That should conclude the meeting. Thank you for your time, Carl. It is a privilege to work with you, President Rain. Good day. And they left the room. Holy cow. Holy flipping cow bags. Right, we have got 2 exclamation marks all the way over here. Republic of Wayland. Trade talks with the President. Likewise, up here, trade talks with the Prime Minister of Agnolia. Okie dokie. We've had these before, obviously, but this time we might be taking a slightly different slant on things. Just looking at the time, it's about 36 minutes, so I think these talks are going to take a little while, so it seems like a good place to end this session. A little bit shorter, but a good place to leave off. So we have directed our secret state police towards our opposition parties, see how that pans out. We have modernised, or starting to modernise, our military. And we have given our wife permission to get involved in politics. The growth line hasn't got any worse, which is glass half full approach. It hasn't got any better either, but it hasn't got any worse. So that's the main thing. Neither was our government debt. So all in all, I think that was a decent enough little session there. So in the next one, indeed, we head to our neighbouring countries to see what trade deals we can broker. So join me next time for that. Until then, though, have a good one, folks, and see you soon.